Hello, and welcome to this walkthrough of integrating and blending data from the AWS Data Exchange using Trifacta. When working with third-party data, it's important to be able to easily connect to the desired data, then profile the data to understand its contents. Oftentimes, third-party data doesn't come in a format ready for use in every circumstance, so we'll need to understand the complexities and then clean and blend that data together using Trifacta. Once we have a dataset that we can work with, we'll publish that data to Redshift so that we can use it to create a dashboard in Amazon QuickSight. In this video, we will cover how to work with census data from the AWS Data Exchange, and we will use this data to answer a simple question. Where should I open my next store to get value from high-impact customers? To answer this question, we will load census data from the AWS Data Exchange into our S3 bucket. Let's begin by heading to the AWS Data Exchange, which is a marketplace for free and commercial datasets. Once in the marketplace, you can search for SafeGraph census data and subscribe to the resulting dataset. In my case, I have already subscribed, so we can skip to the next step. Once we have added this data to our S3 bucket, I will browse through my S3 bucket to locate the CGB demographics data and connect to it in Trifacta. Connecting to data is as simple as locating it, hitting the plus button, and adding it to your flow. I'll also add the CBG JSON data and CBG 19 dataset, which has income information that we're interested in using. Let's start by adding a recipe to the CBG JSON data. Our recipe will contain all of the transformation logic that we will build, and this gives us a script that can be run repeatedly to get continuous value. Upon opening this data, you can see that the data is in a JSON format. JSON files can be tricky to work with, especially for people who are used to using tools like Excel to clean files, but working with JSON data in Trifacta is easy. Trifacta allows you to quickly parse the JSON data into individual columns that contain the properties of census block groups that we're interested in. By simply clicking on the column, Trifacta's built-in intelligence will provide a suggestion for converting the JSON object into individual columns, and will give me a visual preview to make sure that I'm happy with the step. Once I've unnested the JSON object, there's only a few columns that I need to keep for my analysis. So I'll go ahead and select those, and then delete the other columns. Next, I want to bring in some geolocation data, so we can enrich the census block groups with additional information through a lookup. I will select the CBG geographic data as a lookup, and will select the census block group as the lookup key. We now have the latitude, longitude, county names, and other useful information in our dataset. Next, I want to create another recipe for the B19 CSV file, which contains median household incomes. This will allow me to add additional steps to clean that data and add a join. In this dataset, there are only a couple of columns that we need, the census block group and the B19049E1 column, which, from the description on the data exchange, contains income. Being able to see my data in Trifacta's grid also allows me to validate that the data in this column looks like a distribution of income. I will drop all the other columns and rename this column to income. Next, I'm going to filter this dataset based on income, keeping only those census blocks where the median is greater than $150,000. Each column has its own dropdown, where I can quickly find different transformations that I might want to apply. Once we have narrowed this down, I can join this dataset with the previous data that I've wrangled to pull in census block data through an inner join. Again, notice all of the visual information and intelligence that Trifacta provides. It suggests a join key based on the underlying data, and gives me a preview of what the output of the join is going to look like, and how many rows I should expect. Being able to validate my steps on the fly provides huge time savings. At this point, we're ready to produce an output. We will target a Redshift table to store our results so we can easily access the data in QuickSight. To create our resulting table, I'll go ahead and run a job. I'll create a publishing action to set Redshift as my publishing destination and make sure that my settings are correct. Before we head over to QuickSight, I want to do one last step of validation. Trifacta's results profile allows me to do one last data quality check to see that the steps that I have added have created a clean output with the info that I want. We now come to the final step, which is to visualize the output in a QuickSight dashboard. Here, we build a dashboard from the Redshift table. Note that we use latitude and longitude to plot the results on a map. Based on the clustering of high-income neighborhoods around Central Park, it appears that would be a great location to open our next store. In just a few minutes, I was able to quickly incorporate new census data that I got off the AWS Data Exchange site and understand its contents and add steps to clean and blend the data for my purposes. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in learning more about how Trifacta helps you augment your data analysis by onboarding and blending third-party data in minutes instead of months, please contact us or take a free test drive of Trifacta from our website, trifacta.com.